Well, hello. If you're new here, what I do is I watch a movie and I sit down and I yammer about it. That's it. No jump cuts, no script, no nothing. So welcome to the adventure that is whether or not this will be even half decent or not. Regardless, here we go. Spoiler alert. You know the drill. What a spoiler is. Obviously, I'm going to be talking about pieces of the film. So if you don't want spoilers, you can skip ahead to the timestamp that says thoughts, or you can go right to the rating, or you can just exit the video because honestly, you're probably not going to be missing much. Anyway, we're watching Coyotes, so that's fun. Let's just get into it, I guess. So, opening scene. We have a socialite type influencer girl, like complete with pink dress, a little pocket dog, going for a walk, talking to her girlfriend on the phone about some party they were at. How they were like the life of the club, and her friend is like some boys here, and so socialite girls like don't catch chlamydia. Anyway, it's a whole thing establishing that this is like a valley girl, I guess. I don't know. Are valley girls still a thing? It's an influencer socialite person. Anyway, regardless, her little dog goes into the bush to pee, and something gets it, and you see the leash come flying back. She has like one of those like push the button and the leash retracts things. Anyway, leash comes back, dog's not on there, so she's pissed off. She's gonna go kick the ass of whatever hurt her dog. Unfortunately, she's in the middle of the road, so she gets smoked by a vehicle. It's a hit and run. The guy stops and like waits a couple seconds, then drives off when she's not getting up. Her legs all bent and stuff, kind of like It Follows style, unnaturally. That's fun. And then coyotes come and start taking little nips out of her, and that's her intro. So that sets the tone of the film, essentially. Now, we cut to some scenes from the news that's basically establishing the lore of this world. Why are coyotes doing what they're doing? Anyway, turns out there's like a wildfire that's pushing them into the city more so the suburban areas. They're in like the hills, the Hollywood Hills. So he's got like our main character, Scott. He has like this nice, big ass, fancy, rich person house where he lives with his wife, Liv, and his daughter, Chloe. So that's fun. Apparently there's rats in the walls, so they've called an exterminator by the name of Devin. Very interesting character. A little bit too strange for someone I would have a repeat business with afterwards. But anyway, either way, he comes, assesses, and he goes off on some little tangent about like his family, his like wife left him or something. I don't remember. Doesn't matter. Anyway, he offers to... He says rats like dog food, so you might want to get rid of the dog too. And Scott's like, the dog food, you mean? He's like, no, I can take care of him, like no extra charge. And they're like, no, that's good. Sorry, we're not into that. Anyway, that was weird. So later that night, a woman appears. They're supposed to be having like a movie night, and some woman appears and ends up. Their neighbor had ordered like a woman of the night, as they say, by the name of Julie, who goes to the wrong house. Anyway, lo and behold, that's taken care of. She goes to Tripp's house, whatever. They're having their little movie night, and we get a little backstory of Scott being like a workaholic. So he's either an author or like a graphic novel writer or something. I don't know. They always show him writing on something. They might have said exactly what he does. I mean, later he mentions comic books, so I'm assuming he does like a graphic novel or something. I don't know. Anyway, he's always busy working, and the family feels neglected. Blah, 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 blah. That comes up later, too. But even as they're watching the movie, he's like on his little, what are they called, tablets things, and doing his work and all that stuff. Anyway, later that night, Chloe, the daughter, is woken up by barking and goes downstairs and sees a coyote run past outside. She comes and interrupts her parents, who are about ready to, have a lovely evening together in their bedroom. And says there's an animal that's hurt outside. Can you go check it out? And they're like, and she's like, come on. Yeah, okay, whatever. They go and check it out, and basically, yeah, there's a coyote out there, and it's looking kind of aggressive, and he closes the garage door just as it jumps at him, and he's like, okay, that was kind of weird. Anyway, great. So they're fine again, whatever, it doesn't matter. Next day, Scott is... Oh wait, there's a storm. Sorry, there's a storm too, and it knocks over a tree. And it's a tree that Liv has been bugging him to cut down or trim or whatever. Anyway, lo and behold, he should have done that because it falls right on their car and smashes it, therefore establishing no vehicle to get out of this situation later. Perfect little segue or lead up or whatever. Doesn't matter. So that's fun. Next day, he's there. He's dismantling the tree with his buddy. What was his buddy's name? Tony, I think. Irish guy. Good times. Anyway. Not really an important character, more so just fodder, because he gets called home by his wife, Sheila, who's apparently not the most pleasant woman in the world. No one seems to like her except for him. Anyway, on the way home, he gets attacked by coyotes on the road, which, like, absolutely destroy him. Cut to Sheila at home trying to do this barbecue. She's pissed off because Tony was supposed to be home a while ago, and I guess he's always doing that, maybe. I don't know. There's no real backstory to why she's so cranky, but anyway, coyotes get her too. They somehow... So she's calling him on the phone, and then, like, his hand holding the phone, she finds it outside, and Coyote's there, and she runs inside and shuts the door, and then there's one in the next room standing on the pool table. So that's fun. She grabs a little hairspray thing and a lighter and is trying to, like, take care of him that way, which kind of scares him off a little bit, but she ends up tripping or getting bit or something and falling and knocking the barbecue over, and the coals go on the ground, and I guess this can heats up or it's leaking or something, and it explodes, and she's on fire, and she falls, and she's dead, and all that wonderful stuff. Cool. So next we cut to Trip, who is looking for his cat. Liv had brought over the collar, so they had found a dead animal, which apparently was Trip's cat, Lucy, and Scott was spraying it off the driveway with like a pressure washer or something, and he's got this thing about blood, so it's not the most pleasant thing for him. Literally, like, too much blood, he'll pass out. It's a thing, whatever. But anyway, she brings us to Trip, and I guess she doesn't have the heart to tell him that the cat's dead, and there's this whole thing of him coming to look for the cat, and even Chloe's like, what are you doing? And Liv is like, I'm helping him find his cat. And he's like, but the cat's dead, and she's like, shut the fuck up. Anyway, that's the whole thing. Julie's still at his house, so she's occupying herself, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I don't remember what exactly happens to bring this up, but long story short, we'll get to Trip's demise. So, so spoilers, but I already warned you, right? So anyway, so Trip ends up encountering these coyotes, and they come in he's sad about his cat, so he goes to Julie. She hired her for specific duties, right? So they were doing cocaine and stuff earlier, but he's sad about his cat, and he says, can you help me hurt? Or something like that, to deal with the pain. And anyway, they have like candle wax sexy times. And all of a sudden Julie stops, and she's like, what the hell? As 3 coyotes walk into the room, she's like, okay, they're inside, oh shit. She says, I'm sorry, ditches them, jumps behind the couch, and Trip he has guns for some reason right beside him all the time. He has like a gold gun when he answers the door earlier. Anyway, he kills at least 2 of them, I'm pretty sure. It shows one of them getting capped right in the head, so that's good on him. He put up a fight. Cut back to our friend's place, the family, and they're hearing these sounds while they're playing charades or something family-like. Scott's all trying to be Frankenstein or some shit. Anyway, you hear bangs, and they're like, is Trip setting off fireworks? I don't know, he's pretty crazy, wouldn't surprise me. And they look, and they're like, are they coming from in his house? Finally, Liv is like, yeah, I'm gonna call 911 and figure this out, because this is a little weird. At the same time, their little dog, Charlie, I guess, ran outside, so Scott has to go get Charlie. There's an encounter with coyotes, who are, again, unusually aggressive, but he quickly hops the fence into Trip's yard. And it's like a chain link fence with like a bunch of tarps on it or some shit. Anyway, coyotes assumingly can't get in, even though we know that they did. He goes into the house, and he's calling for his dog. He's like, Trip, it's Scott, your neighbor, don't shoot me. So he's calling for his dog, and when he gets upstairs, you find Trip, who's partially eaten, like to the point of like his ribs are cracked open, and you can see his ribs and like his organs pulsating, and he moves his head and he's like, help me. And then obviously Scott almost vomits, and he like almost passes out by the door, and then a bunch of bullets fly through the door. He's like, holy shit, what the fuck? Anyway, Julie's got a gun in the bathroom. So he's like it's me. And she's like, I don't know who the fuck you are. It's your neighbor. You don't want to shoot the neighbor. Anyway, they leave the house, and the plan is to use the car that she was charging his phone in. She has the keys, but all the power's out, so the gate's locked. So they drive through the gate, wrecks the car or whatever, and anyway, they get back to the main family house. Dog returns, followed by coyotes, and Scott ends up getting bit. And since Scott is played by Justin Long, I assume, oh shit, okay, they're killing the dad. Because Justin Long, when he's in a horror movie, he dies, right? That's just the thing. That's tradition. He's like the Sean Bean of horror. But no, he doesn't die. That's exciting. So anyway, Liv saves him by means of fire extinguisher spray, which is creative. Good for her. And they patch him up for the most part. And Coyotes get in the house, and they all hide. And Chloe's hiding under the stairs, and Liv's behind the couch, and Julie's against the wall. So it's the four of them now, by the way. Julie did come, and she's hanging out with them. Anyway, as this coyote is sniffing like a Spam can, because they had a family dinner night, and he's like, well, we don't have power, so let's eat Spam, because whatever. He's a little preoccupied. Chloe is slowly going to go sneak upstairs to somewhere where there's a door she can shut, and unfortunately she steps on a squeaky dog toy. So the coyotes hear it, obviously, and chase her into a room, and she's hiding in a closet, and there's another coyote that, as like the parents are like, run, you know, there are more than one in the building, and one of them attacks, and Liv puts like a sheet over its head, and Scott stabs it like 479 times with a friggin' fire poker. So I think that one's done, and they hear their daughter screaming, and they run up, and the coyote's gone, but she's got a big chunk out of her neck, so, you know, her and her dad have matching injuries. Well, his is his shoulder, I think. I don't know. What does it matter? It doesn't. Anyway, she's injured. Scott sees a lot of blood. He passes out. Comes to. Everything's chill. The four of them are safe in a room, whatever. And he's like, okay, well, we got to figure out something to do here. Like, any ideas are good. Just say whatever's on your mind. And Chloe's like, we could build a cage. And Scott's like, okay, sweetie, I appreciate that you're trying. That's like a terrible idea, though. And she's like, he's like, how are we going to fit all the coyotes in that cage? And it's like, no, you dumbass, basically. It's like a shark cage. Like, we could go in the cage. Okay, that makes sense. So that's the plan. Scott's going to go build one of those in the basement. Delightful. While this is going on, he stumbles upon a family photo album, and then you get the whole conversation about him always working, yada, yada, yada. Tells him whatever. And then as they're discussing this, guess who pulls up? Devin, the exterminator guy. He's coming back to check on his rat traps or whatever. There was a weird scene I forgot to mention in Tripp's house. He gets a call from Devin. He's like, hello? He's like, hi. And he's like, who's this? It's Devin, the exterminator. Hi, can I help you? He's like, yeah, you called? He looks, apparently butt dialed him like 14 times. So it's like, yeah, okay, well, I mean, this is an interesting idea. How about you come and kill these coyotes? And he's like, okay, first of all, it's my day off. Doesn't even let him finish. Doesn't give a shit, really. And then they zoom out, and as he hangs up, he's like, with little surgical tools, I think he's opening up like a mouse or something and dissecting it. I have no idea. He's a weird dude. Anyway, fast forward again to this point. He pulls up in his van to check the rat traps, and there's like fire everywhere, and the car is smashed. He's like, what the fuck is going on here? Anyway, he gets out of the car, and coyotes show up, and he's got the chemical spray stuff. And he's like, oh, okay, you want to tangle? So he's very confident. There's 3 of them, and he's like pumping the spray, and it's poison spraying out, because that's, you know, exterminator stuff, and they take off. And he's like, ha, there you go. I thought so. Or no, yeah, I think he brings out a cattle prod as well. And then as the 3 run off, he turns and one jumps him, and then they start attacking him on the ground. And Julie and Liv are watching her from the window, and they're like, oh, I can't watch this. Anyway, they're on little walkie-talkies. So I was like, what's going on? They're like, yeah, they got Devin. He's done. Sorry, I'm a bag of disease right now. You'll have to forgive me. Okay. Where were we? Okay, so yeah, cage. Anyway, he's still building this cage, and he hears like dog barking, and he messages them on the walkie. He's like, is Charlie with you guys? This little dog again. And they say, yeah, he's sitting with Chloe. Interesting. He follows the sound that's coming from the vents. So what does he do? He crawls into the vents, because why not? Turns out 2 little coyote puppies had fallen into the vents. And they're adorable and fluffy, and I want to hug them. So he's like, okay. So the aggression was just because they're trying to get their puppies. That makes way more sense than something crazy, right? So he goes and grabs the puppies, and his big plan, he announces over the radio, like, I'm going to do a handoff, you know? And they're like, okay, well, this is not the greatest idea, but good luck, basically, because what are they going to do, stop him, right? So this makeshift cage that he built, it's a little rickety. It's you know, he tried. God bless him, right? E for effort, whatever you want to call it. He wheels out, and all these coyotes are around. They start attacking this thing, and then they just stop suddenly. He's like, what does that mean? I guess they know the puppies are there. So Irego says, okay, I'm going to make the exchange. Have faith in me, or whatever. And he's like, I hope those aren't my last words. Anyway, they're not, so that's great. He gets out and he puts the puppies down, and they run towards the coyotes, and the coyotes are happy-ish, I guess, and they all run away, and it's delightful, and the family comes out, and they're chill, and there's hugging, and Liv and Scott smooch, and they're hugging their girl, and then all of a sudden in the background you see Julie just get jumped by a coyote, which they promptly knock off of her, and he's like, we had a deal, which reminded me of Seinfeld. Forgot to mention, he literally said, like, here's the deal, you know, my family for yours, and hand off the puppies. Anyway, so we had a deal. Anyway, they get into the vehicle that Devin drove up in, so it's like an exterminator van, and they all pile in, and they drive off, and as he's crying about his comic collection, he starts crying about his comic collection because suddenly in the rearview mirror you see, boom, a big explosion. So apparently the fire had hit like their gas main or something, so their house is completely destroyed now. And then he starts crying because his comic book collection was in there, which is great. As he's doing that, our hero of the day, Devin, comes to and stands up, and he's like, okay, let's do this. I'm good again. He has a knife. He ends up grabbing one of the little puppies, the coyote puppies, and has a knife to it, and the big one comes and is growling, and he throws the little one aside. He's like, oh, you want to tangle? All right, let's do this. Anyway, Wolf jumps. He goes with the blade like this. There's like a comic book panel, like bang or smash or something, and it turns into like graphic novel style, and then that's the end of the movie. So that was interesting. And that was the film. That's literally the whole movie. So that's fun. What do we think about this film? It's entertaining. It is. All of the coyotes are, like 90% of the shots with coyotes are CGI, which is fine because it's actually not bad CGI. It's not great. Like, you can tell that they're not real, but it's very real looking CGI. It's on that cusp of, like, if it was any better, it would probably look real. So that was okay. Oh yeah, this is the no spoiler part, so I can't say that. As far as gore goes, it's okay. There's that one scene that I mentioned that you get a pretty good scene of some pretty good gore happening there. Is this movie more for laughs or is it more for scares? I would say it's actually a decent combination of... It's not really for scares. It's like a weird, wacky concept. Like, coyotes? Sure, why not, right? I mean, we've done every other animal, so we may as well get them out of the way. I mean, most people just go right for wolves, because that's horrifying, right? You're not going to do well against a single wolf, let alone a pack. That is another thing I'm going to mention is coyotes, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not a biologist or coyoteologist, but they're usually solitary or in very, very small family groups. And this looked like there was a pack of... I mean, there were always 3 on screen, it seemed, but, like, multiples had been killed, right? So I don't know how many were in this family unit, but that was a little strange, and not what I think is accurate scientifically. But again, I don't know. I just always thought every time I've seen a coyote, it's been by itself, so who knows? Maybe, like, the whole extended family came together to do the thing that I almost spoiled. Anyway, fuck. So that was the thing. The story was a little bit cut and paste. I mean, you take a pretty standard story, you throw them in a situation, you take an animal that isn't usually that horrifying and you make it horrifying. And the novelty of seeing coyotes as like absolutely bloodthirsty killing machines is kind of entertaining because they're pretty skittish around humans. They'll absolutely eat like a family pet, a dog or a cat or something like that, but around people they don't usually... Again, I don't know. Maybe some of them do. I have no idea. But as far as I know, you don't hear about coyotes killing people too often. So that's fun. I'm kind of just rambling now here, aren't I? Well, this is kind of what I do, you know. Would I watch it again? I mean, I watched it twice actually. So I watched it a couple of days ago, but then I was like super sick, so I didn't feel right about not doing a review immediately after, so I just watched it again today. So a week ago and then again today, whatever. So I mean, it was worth watching twice. It wasn't horrible to sit through again a second time to refresh my memory. So I mean, that's what you're getting, exactly what it is. It's called Coyotes. That's what you're getting. You know that it's like horror or horror adjacent, so you know essentially that they're not going to be friendly. I don't know what much more I can say about that. Yeah, the ending, well, not the ending, but like there are various, like when characters are introduced, they like show the character's face, and then it like transitions quickly to like a graphic novel style with a person's name, which was an interesting idea to do, which is again why I assume that was his job, is that he's a graphic novel writer or illustrator or something like that. So that mystery potentially solved. But yeah, I can't really say a hell of a lot more without going into spoilers, which that whole previous section was for. All in all, though, is it worth watching? Yeah, it's silly. It's not gonna like it's not a groundbreaking film, but you can have fun with it. Just don't expect any like the greatest film ever made, or like a hidden horror gem that, you know, is gonna become a cult classic later down the line. I mean, maybe, who knows, right? But to me, it doesn't feel like one of those. But it's not a complete waste of time. So let's just jump to the rating and quit stalling. What am I gonna rate it? 5.3132. Let's just do all of them. There you go. 5.3132. That's my rating out of 10. Should you watch it? Yeah, go for it. It's silly. Again, if you're in the mood for something a little more intense, maybe this isn't the best thing for you. But if you're in the mood for something light and silly and goofy and still kind of fun and a little bit creepy, I guess, at times, maybe, then yeah, go for it. Check it out. I was gonna say let me know what you think, but I do not fish for comments, so do not let me know what you think. Unless we're going to do so before I asked, then by all means, go for it. What the hell? Yeah, so that's it. We'll cut it here because I'm just rambling now and saying shit that no one cares about. So anyway, Coyotes, check it out or don't. Bye.